Let's rock. Come on in and listen to your senseis. That's Drew Willingham. I'm Brian Snow on a Monday afternoon, and you can catch the Sports Senseis every Monday afternoon on the SDM Sports Radio Network and the replay on the Legacy Maker Sports Network. And thank you to the crew at Legacy Maker. Drew, how are you, my man?
Hey, I'm doing great, brother. Glad to be back here. First show for me for the new year. So I know you guys had Snowman in the morning this morning. I had a New Year's Eve edition, episode 66 of the In or Out Sports Debate on Saturday. 2 episodes tonight, episode 67 with Rod Isaac. Rod joins the show, Snowman. He's here today, 4:05 p.m. Eastern on the Legacy Maker Sports Network Live. And tonight, at 8:05 p.m. Eastern, Brian H. Waters of the Wrestling Realm, the turncoat Brian Waters, joins me again for episode 68 tonight. And I'm just glad to be here with you for the first episode since right before Christmas. So I hope you had a great holidays, brother. I did too. But most importantly, I'm back here with you today. I am stoked.
I am fabulous, man. We had a fabulous holiday. I got to see my nieces, got to spend time with my son, my daughter. My daughter in Los Angeles couldn't make it up, but we had a great conversation. Got some time in with the wife. Man, I am feeling great, feeling absolutely wonderful. And I have 4 words for you to kick this show off. How about those 49ers?
Hey, I know you were sweating it for at least a minute.
Yeah, I was.
The Raiders. I could feel it even from Virginia. I could feel it on your pores. I said, Snowman is sweating it right now because we had the Packer game on for that time frame on CBS, the Packers and Vikings and whatnot. So I had it on Red Zone because in the garage I got like multiple TVs. It's like a mini Buffalo Wild Wings. But in the main TV, it was the Packer game. The corner TV was Red Zone. And I was keeping my eyes glued more to the Red Zone TV because I was looking for Snowman and his pores of sweat coming on down. Because if you would have lost to the Raiders, you knew that today I would not let you live it down.
Listen,
I would have tore into you for that one.
A whole bunch of people wouldn't have let me live it down. But as I discussed this morning, and I will discuss tomorrow, the defense had to make one play, and they made that one play in overtime. And then Robbie Gould knocked home the game winner. So making 9 in a row for San Francisco. We'll get to that second half of the show. But did you see those college football playoff games? Incredible.
You and I were going back and forth. I was messaging you during it because I was saying TCU, we called it because we did. I believe it was either on Snowman in the Morning Plus or when we first started this show. We were talking about TCU and how they were going to be the upset team. And we were talking about and we were saying that both of our picks were TCU and Georgia. TCU we got right, even though it was a back and forth game. That was a really good game to watch in the second half, at least.
That was
the other game with Georgia. I thought Ohio State was going to run away with it because the way it was a completely different feel of a game watching the TCU Michigan game and then watching Ohio State and Georgia. I thought Ohio State was going to win so much that I put a little bit of money on DraftKings about it, and I'm upset about it today because I wish I would have just put on Georgia, and then I would have definitely made big. But Georgia proved why they were the defending national champions and why they're going back again. Still undefeated team through last year to now. It's definitely historic to see. But I thought Ohio State had it for a minute. I thought
I did. I was watching the game with my wife, and she says, dogs don't look good. I said, there's plenty of game left, baby. There's plenty of game left. And you know, in a way, she wanted to just see a good game like we saw last year with Utah and Ohio State. But man, I tell you what, here's our call of the day presented by Cricket, and thank you to Scott Howard and the Bulldogs Radio Network for this.
Clock moving at 123, 122, 121. Dogs have 2 timeouts. Ohio State has 2 timeouts. It's 41-35. Georgia trails by 6.
Boy, what a ball right there by Stetson Bennett. Nice route by Kieris Jackson.
Everyone on their feet here at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Nobody sitting in this one. From the 10, snap it back to Bennett. He looks in the end zone, throws it for the back corner. Caught! Touchdown! Touchdown, A.D. Mitchell! Back left corner! Touchdown! The Dogs have tied it!
I nearly screamed when that touchdown pass was thrown, but my wife was asleep, and I didn't want to wake her. She fell asleep because she was so exhausted from the day, and I didn't want to wake her. But when she did wake up and I played that call, she had the same reaction that I did. We just went, "Wow, what a comeback by Georgia!" But
Hey, I was
hell of a
with you,
game
Doc.
by
Hey, I
hell
thought
of
it
a
was
game
over.
by both teams. Let's stay in the Peach Bowl. Hell of a game by both teams, Ohio State and Georgia. 83 points, 1,000 yards of offense. Ohio State led by double digits 3 separate times. But how about those Dogs? They kept coming back.
They did. They kept coming back, and I was with you, Dr. K. I thought this game was, excuse me, over. I thought that the Ohio State Buckeyes were going to run away with this game, and for the fact
Mhm.
that Georgia to come back and to prove why they are the reigning defending national champions, it was laid out there like a storybook for us all to see because Stroud
Yeah.
was playing great for Ohio State. I don't even think he turned the ball over. I think he had
No.
4 touchdowns for 0 picks, if I remember right.
Yep.
They were both great games by both quarterbacks. It was just a battle of the defenses, which one was going to give in. And Ohio State, unfortunately, didn't have the stronger defense in comparison to Georgia. And both semifinal games were high scoring games. If you really want to sum it up, it was the offense for all the teams that made it interesting
Yes.
because the defenses on all 4 teams really weren't anything special to note. If you were to look at the Heisman race and see why neither one of these teams had anyone defensive wise in the top of all 4 teams, this was the showcase why, because they gave up
Mhm.
a lot of points. So,
Mhm.
again, I was with you, Dr. K. It was over. I was fading away. I almost fell asleep, but it was like getting jolted by like a CPAP or something. Like I
Yep.
came back to life just enough to see this game go back into the favor of the Bulldogs.
Man, how about those Dogs? 42-41 was the final, and I want to talk about this point right here. They trailed by digits 3 times. Ohio State looked fantastic. When they built up that 38-24 lead, and then the big hit on Marvin Harrison Jr. and Harrison didn't come back, but
He didn't come back yet.
no, no, he
No.
did not come back. They took his helmet from him, and I'm glad for that because I didn't want to see the young man get hurt anymore. As bad as he wanted to go back in the game, you know, you didn't want to risk anything. Stetson Bennett came to life. That running game came to life. But I want to highlight Stetson Bennett here for a moment because he could have easily folded the tent for Georgia and say, you know what, Ohio State got us. But Stetson Bennett in the second half led that offense. Even when they were down 38-24, he led that comeback. And man, oh man, Stetson
Hey,
Bennett showed why he was one of the 4 finalists for the Heisman and showed why he's one of the main reasons the Dogs are defending national champions and they will defend their title next Monday night.
to compliment what you were saying, Snowman, Stetson Bennett threw for 398 yards, 3 touchdowns. He did have that one lone interception, but if people were just looking at this by stats, they would say that was the difference maker of the game. It really wasn't because if whether he would have thrown that interception or not, this game would have been close.
Right.
C.J. Stroud though threw for 348 yards, and I was right, had 4 touchdowns,
4
0
touchdowns.
picks, and both of them had over 20 completions, passing wise apiece. So they were actually both the same amount of completions, 23 of 34, ironically, but Stetson
Right.
Bennett had about 54 more passing yards. But yes, going back to what you were saying about Marvin Harrison Jr., with what we've seen with Tua in the NFL this year, concussion protocols definitely need to be taken into more of an account this offseason on all levels of sports, because
Yeah.
especially with what we've seen with Tua in Miami this year, I was happy to see that too. You got Marvin Harrison Jr., second generation, potentially could be as good, if not better, than his father, who played for
Oh
13
man.
years in the NFL and was a Super Bowl champion with Peyton Manning and the Colts. So it's going to be
And I
interesting
loved
to see
watching
what
his
happens with
dad.
his career.
I
Oh,
love
yeah.
watching his dad,
It
number
was,
88, do his thing.
even though you got an Indianapolis Colts hoodie for Christmas when you are not a true devout fan, I will give that to you, because as a fan of the REDSKINS, but just a fan in general of football, Marvin Harrison is in. If I had to make a top 100 list of players, he'd be in there.
Yeah, CJ Stroud, some of the players that we saw during that game, and CJ Stroud proved he was ready for the NFL. I mean, look the way the kid plays, especially in big games, and he showcased all the tools. The team that drafts CJ Stroud, I say plug and play him right now.
Absolutely. But what team would you plug and play him in?
That's a good question. It I said in a previous episode that the Redskins could go after Lamar Jackson. I think the perfect quarterback for Washington would be CJ Stroud. He's ready. You could plug him in and give him the ball right now. You can give him the ball. You can do what the Colts did with Peyton Manning. Draft him, get him acclimated, and plug him in. CJ Stroud is ready, and I think the Redskins should be ready for him right now.
It depends on if he declines his next year's eligibility. He still has at least one more year of eligibility
Right.
left, because he didn't come to Ohio State until 2020. He's actually a redshirt sophomore, so he technically has 2 more years of eligibility left.
Yeah.
It depends on what he wants to do. If he feels like the NFL is his best move now, like Tua made a little bit early, then we can see that potentially happen with him. But looking at other quarterbacks, and this is where the NIL deal is makes things a little bit more different than in the past.
Yeah.
You're already getting compensation. You might as well, if it were me, in this case, things different now. You could stay in college sports. You can get paid. You could still get a college degree on top of it, and then you come into the league a little bit more seasoned too, because the Ohio State coaching staff is still fairly new, and they're still growing as well. I feel like it would be better for CJ Stroud to stick around at least one more year, if not both. Go ahead and get a diploma, keep getting paid, and then check out to see what you got, because there's other aging quarterbacks. You still got Tom Brady, who's not guaranteed to retire after this year. What if he goes somewhere else besides Tampa Bay? What if he decides to come to old San Francisco, depending on what the 49ers do in the playoffs?
Yeah, we got our guy. I really believe that we got our guy. Turn down TB12 in San Francisco. Hey, can't do that, because you're talking about one of the greatest to ever play the game. Let me say that aloud. But CJ Stroud I believe he does need at least one more year. But after that Peach Bowl performance, should he decide to declare for the NFL draft like Bryce Young did earlier today, I don't know. It's kind of like I want to see Stroud grow and do more as a quarterback at Ohio State, but at the same time, a part of me says that he's ready. It depends on what he wants to do. Let's take a break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about some frogs. How about them frogs? Back after this.
Now, I'm known as the guy who can fix just about anything, but the technology in most appliances requires very special training to fix. And that's why my family has Choice Home Warranty.
Choice Home Warranty covers over 25 major home systems and appliances. That's your AC, heating, plumbing, kitchen and laundry appliances, and so much more.
Call Choice Home Warranty now before something breaks down.
Get protection for your heating, AC, plumbing, kitchen and laundry appliances, and more.
Call 800-973-6121. Here's an important message from the Diabetes Solution Center. Do you like pricking your fingers to test your blood sugar levels? No one does, but it's important to maintain your health. And now, by wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you don't need to prick your fingers anymore. It's easy to use and helps you make more accurate diabetes treatment decisions. If you are testing your blood sugar 3 or more times daily, injecting insulin, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetes Solution Center right now. And if you have Medicare or most major insurance coverage, you may be able to get a new CGM at little to no out-of-pocket cost. Shipping is free, and we'll even bill your insurance company for you. If you are testing your blood sugar 3 or more times daily, injecting insulin, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetes Solution Center right now to learn how to end the painful finger sticks and get your own continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, at little to no out-of-pocket cost.
Legacy Maker, the All Sports Network, presents a Sertoba Media production where the struggle is real to be awesome.
Acknowledge me. You should know your role and shut your mouth!
Man, I can't wait for Kayfabe Express. I
This
am
month.
pumped. I'm pumped,
com-
man.
It's coming this month. I'm actually going to be announcing within the next week the actual date for that. So, and I'm going to get you the new video I've been working on too, because this
Cool.
microphone is too badass. No, man, I got to get it in that video.
For you not to be in it.
But I
Oh,
do have
man.
a question for you,
Yes,
because
sir.
I felt like I was watching cable TV for a second. That's some awesome advertisement that you got there, Snowman. I felt like I was watching ESPN. I thought the guy with the beard saying diabetes is about to come up here and start talking for a second. That was awesome. So
Thank you.
congratulations to you on the sponsorship advertisements right there.
We're working on it.
You
man.
got
Thanks
Al
to
Borland
Don-
on here.
Yep. Thanks to Don Schaefer, one of the producers of the network, for getting us going with that. We got more advertisers coming. Y'all stay tuned. And I'm gonna do what I did with the morning show, is put packs together. And I'm talking to Cole about doing some bumps for our show. And you know that mad scientist can come up with anything. Now we talk dogs, let's talk frogs. When we started this, our first prediction was for the playoff games, and we both had the same picks: dogs and frogs. TCU punished Michigan. The score may not indicate it, but if you look at the game closely, if you look at the game very, very closely, they stopped Michigan on a 4th and goal at the 5-yard line, and then they had the pick six after TCU punted. Michigan take the points when they had a chance to.
Michigan definitely laid an egg right there. And if we saw anything in comparison to how an afterthought of a team in the Ohio State Buckeyes almost beat Georgia, the carpet is laid out for TCU to come in here and take this national championship. Because
Yes,
if they come up here and they play in the national championship like they played against Ohio State, the Bulldogs are going to lose to the Frogs. It's just without a doubt, like that's just hands down got to be my take on that. Because when you look and compare and contrast, it's like you said, it may be a 6-point game when it was over, but TCU was beating down Michigan at one point. Like by the score, it was 21-6 at halftime. Okay. They were beating them down. And then they, of course, both teams opened the floodgates of scoring the second half. But the first half, it was all TCU first half, Snowman.
I mean, TCU, I'll say it again. They punished them. They bullied Michigan to a tune of a 21-6 lead, and they led 41-22 before J.J. McCarthy and company finally got their act together. And a little known fact about McCarthy that I didn't know, he's from near my hometown in Chicago. He played at Nazareth Academy. home to the Roadrunners and picked up a state championship in 2018. I didn't know that until Sean McDonough said that. But TCU, everyone expected Michigan to just boat race TCU because Michigan said, "Hey, we play in the Big Ten, we ground and pound," and TCU said, "Oh yeah, check this out." Especially with their running game and Max Duggan doing his thing, they absolutely punished Michigan. You can't put it any other way.
All day I kept calling the quarterback Ryan McCarthy. So shout out to Ryan McCarthy for the Belly Ups podcast for that, because I kept calling him Ryan McCarthy all day. Then we got to the game and I'm like, look at Ryan McCarthy go. And buddy mine's like, who the hell are you talking about? I'm like, Ryan McCarthy, the quarterback. His name's JJ McCarthy. So shout out to Ryan for that one. But we just with the way the game was going, it was like, sorry Ryan, it looked like Ryan McCarthy was playing the first half. In the second
Yes.
half, JJ McCarthy showed up. So no throwing under the bus intended there, Ryan McCarthy, but you showed up the first half, swapped out with your brother JJ, and JJ took over. Little brother JJ took over second half. The morphing of uniforms. So that is my sound bite for today's episode there, Snowman. Morphing from Ryan to JJ.
I gotta have that. I gotta have that sound bite. Got to have it. Got to have it. I love it. But what can you say about Max Duggan and the way he directed that offense for TCU?
I feel like, you were talking about CJ Stroud earlier. I feel like Max Duggan is definitely poised to do something at the next level, when it comes to the NFL. Seeing with way he brought that team back into the game when it was going back and forth in that second half. Any other quarterback that would give up when they would have a lead at 21-6 at halftime, and then they give up the lead going into the second half, it takes a poised veteran presence to be able to lead the team to come back from when you were already winning. You're already winning by multiple touchdowns. Team comes back and takes the lead from you. It takes someone with the right mindset to lead that team back from behind to victory, which is what he did for TCU.
Mm-hmm. And Max Duggan, we talked about it here. Max Duggan should have been the MVP. Should have been the
without a doubt.
Period.
Without a doubt, he should have. And he definitely put that on display in this past weekend's game.
Yeah, he did. He certainly did. So congrats to TCU in Georgia. One game left in the college football season. That is Monday night, January 9th from SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles. Take a break, and when we come back, we'll shift to the NFL, and there are some playoff picture scenarios that I couldn't believe is happening. We'll talk more after this.
Legacy Maker, the All Sports Network, presents a Sertoba Media production where the struggle is real to be awesome.
Acknowledge me. You should know your role and shut your mouth!
To the playoff picture we go in the NFL. We'll start in the AFC. The teams that are in: the Chiefs, Bills, Bengals, Chargers, yes, the San Diego Chargers, and the Baltimore Ravens are all in. In the hunt, you have the Jaguars and the New England Patriots, Dolphins, Steelers, and Titans on the bubble. And who would have thought at the top of the season, the way the Titans beat up the Colts, we kind of awarded the AFC South to Tennessee and said no one would catch them in the AFC South. Lo and behold, here's Trevor Lawrence saying, "Hold both my beers."
I tell you what, man, it has definitely been interesting to see how both the AFC and NFC have been panning out. And when you've got the Jaguars, who have now come back from what they were playing at to now having an 8-8 record and first in the AFC South, with the 4 spot as of right now. I mean, it's definitely been wild to see. We saw the Ravens lose last night, which basically puts the ball in the court of the Bengals tonight to win over the Bills to lock
Yes.
up that first spot. Now, if they lose tonight when they play the Bills, it's going to be the battle of the AFC North when they play each other this upcoming Sunday. Then you got the Chiefs, like
Right.
you said, and the Bills at the top of the AFC East. Regardless if the Bills lose tonight or not, they're still going to be in first in the AFC East. So it's more so a victory that needs to
Mhm.
be had on the end of the Bengals in order to happen for them tonight to clinch the North. You got the Chargers, who are second in the West right now. When you put everything in perspective between them being right behind the Chiefs, which the Chiefs sit at 13-3, the Chargers sit at 10-6. So the Chargers are definitely going to get
Yeah.
that playoff spot as a wild card. But when you got the Chargers, the
Yeah, they're in.
Ravens,
They're in.
you've got the Patriots, still in the bubble are the Dolphins, the Steelers, and the Titans, like you were saying, who the Dolphins have the Patriots upcoming, the Steelers and the Ravens, what they had in this past weekend. It was the Dolphins and Patriots this past weekend. But with them losing and then the Titans losing, it definitely puts a damper on how things are going to pan out this upcoming weekend.
Yeah, it really does. The Dolphins look like a shoo-in for the playoffs, and they're on the bubble. The Titans look like a shoo-in for the playoffs, and they're on the bubble. And surprisingly, the Pittsburgh Steelers are still alive for a playoff spot. Big win last night for Pittsburgh. Here's the
What if
scenario.
Tomlin wins? What if Tomlin
Yes.
wins this upcoming weekend and he goes 9-8 this year when everybody was throwing it away and putting it as a wash that, yeah, Mike Tomlin can afford his first losing season in the NFL. It's going to be big news this weekend if Steelers country gets another win and Tomlin has still got a winning record in every season of his tenure in the NFL.
And that's crazy to think about. That is crazy. The surprise team for me, and I know Ryan McCarthy talks about this on his program, No Credentials Required. Surprise team for me in the AFC has got to be the Jacksonville Jaguars.
I when it comes to AFC, I will absolutely agree with that because nobody saw this coming at the beginning of the season the way they started out this year. With the Dolphins to go through what they went through with Tua, the multiple concussions for them to be on the bubble, definitely miraculous for that as well. But I would have to agree that my surprise team for the AFC would have to be the Jaguars. I wouldn't even think that they would be in the 4 spot at this point. The 4 spot at 8-8. When they could definitely easily be gunning for one of the top picks in the draft next year, but instead they kept their head up high, and they kept battling all year round, and they deserve to be where they're at right now.
Duval County and Alltel Stadium is going to be bananas on Saturday night. It's the Jaguars and the Titans for the AFC South title. Let's move to the NFC.
Kyle Nash.
Yep,
Kyle Nash will be there. He'll be covering that. So praise to you, Kyle Nash, again for all your efforts with us and the teamwork. You deserve to have a team that to be covering that is in this position. Our team, the Commies, no, they got eliminated this past weekend. So out of 3 of us, Snowman's team, your team, my hat's off to both of y'all. You're both NFC and AFC. Wouldn't that be sweet to see? It's not going to happen. The 49ers and the Jaguars in the Super Bowl.
that would
neither
be
one of those
crazy.
teams. Neither one of those teams are going to get that far.
You shut your mouth. Let's go. NFC picture looks like this. The 1 seed is Philadelphia, 13-3. The 2 seed, the 49ers, 12-4. They clinched the NFC West. Minnesota dropped to the 3 spot after they got manhandled by the Packers yesterday at Lambeau Field. In the 4 spot, signed, sealed, and delivered is Tampa Bay. They clinched the NFC South. The Cowboys have an outside chance to clinch the NFC East. Crazy as that sounds, they're in the 5th spot right now. In the 6th spot is the New York Football Giants. Congrats to them. They clinched their playoff spot yesterday. In the hunt, you have the Seahawks at 8-8, the Lions at 8-8, the Packers at 8-8. Holy cow. So let's start with Seattle. Seattle has no business whatsoever being in the playoff hunt the way that they are. And yet here they are, 8 up, 8 down. Geno Smith has gotten them to the brink of the playoffs but they got some work to do to get in the playoffs.
I think that they're in better position this year than they would have been if they would have had Russell Wilson still on their team. I don't think Russell Wilson would have willed this team to an 8-8 record at this point. I think we
I
would be
believe that.
seeing. Yeah, I think Geno Smith has definitely been a great, a great replacement for Russell Wilson in Seattle because we've already seen the dumpster fire that's happened in Denver. For Seattle to be at 8-8 at this point of the year, for not only them but the Green Bay Packers, Snowman, and the
Yes.
Detroit Lions, both of
And the
those teams
Detroit
from the
Lions.
NFC North,
And
both
the
of them.
Detroit Lions.
Yeah, Detroit Lions, the Green Bay Packers, both from the NFC North have willed themselves back to an 8-8 record with 1 week left to go. I've already been saying it all year long. Doesn't matter if the Vikings win the NFC North. They have been exposed in all 4 of those losses that they have had this year.
Yes.
They have been looking like a team that deserves to be 8-8, where the Packers look better as an 8-8 team than what Minnesota has proven to be over the past month. So when I put all that in perspective, we're over here talking about the Jaguars as a surprise team for the AFC. My surprise team is the two. I'd have to give them to both of them. The 2 out of the NFC North that are on the bubble as well, between the Lions and the Packers, because with what we saw in Hard Knocks for the Detroit Lions before the season started, looked like a great team. We could be easily talking about them as potentially the one that would run away with the North easily, even with the Vikings or the Packers. But, the way they started out this season, it looked like it was going to be a rough year for Dan Campbell and company. However, at this point, you're 8-8 you have a potential way to end this year on a winning record note. So that would be awesome to see for the Lions, the Packers, for Geno Smith and the Seahawks. We got 1 week left. There's 1 spot available between those 3 teams. Who's going to get it?
Let's go to the Fanatics feedback zone very quickly. Cole Sports says, "Good afternoon, gentlemen. Is somebody lying about TB12, which led to this started it. This started the whole thing. This right here, nice shot. It was unfortunate. Harrison got possibly concussed. He did. I believe he did get concussed.
Yeah.
And that's why Harrison was pulled from the game and did not get his helmet back. Close with Stetson Bennett, the possible future quarterback of the Houston Texans. Oh boy. Oh boy. The con man's in the house. He said, "What's up? You are the man sharing this. Thank you for that." The Seahawks will become huge Lions fans. Yeah, and there's my surprise team in the NFC, the Detroit Lions, who've had a great offense all year. The defense has stepped up. The game that has cost the Lions not having control of their own destiny was the loss to Carolina.
Carolina has been sneaking up on teams this year too. I mean, they had a chance to even up until this weekend to get there as well. And wouldn't that have been a wild story with Matt Rule and getting axed, during the season, and they have a chance to come back with Sam Darnold after cutting Baker Mayfield as well. All the drama in Carolina, it appears to be worth it. You got Matt Rule out of there who didn't know what he was doing to run a team. You got the Baker Mayfield drama out of there. Baker might do better in the LA situation anyway. So we'll see going forward for those teams, but it's definitely been a wild situation when it comes to this playoff picture to end this 2022 season.
Wilder than last year. Wilder than last year. You had some teams that had to win and get in, and they didn't.
I'll just be happy if the Commies get a win this weekend to hurt Dallas, but also to end the season with at least an 8-1 record. Because the way they played against the Browns, and they got to put Heineke back in, get Wentz out of there. Like you had, and shout out to Rob Johnson since we're on the NFC. Rob Johnson and Darrell Owens were at yesterday's game when the Cleveland Browns came into Washington, right? Even he said it. You had the 2-minute drill, and you were still in the game. You could have put Taylor Heineke in there, who runs a better 2-minute drill than what Carson Wentz did. If you put him in there for the series before the last one, and he ran basically 2-minute drills to end the game, he could have brought him back. Because we've seen Heineke magic all year long, and you took him out last week to put in Carson Wentz, and then you left Carson Wentz in all game this week, and look at what happened. Another dumpster fire, multiple interceptions. Get him out of there.
Let's stay with the Redskins for a moment. Is Taylor Heineke your starter next year from start to finish?
I hope so, because he'd be on a cheaper deal for one, and you could take that other money and spread it around in different areas to help you out. Because
Hmm.
defense needs a little bit more help. They're okay, but they need another spark there. But you also need more help on that offensive line. If you can keep
Absolutely.
If you can keep Logan Thomas healthy, you got
Hmm.
McLaurin, you've got Dotson, you got Cam Sims. I like those three wide receivers. You
Yeah.
mainly need to beef up your offensive line a little bit more and get a second tight end and another
Hmm.
spark on defense. And then you could have something. You still kept up with the other teams in NFC East until the last few weeks of the season. I saw some very, very big things that could be potential opportunities for this team going forward. But when you think about the holes like Swiss cheese and stuff like that you need to fill, I'm thinking another tight end, a little bit more beefiness on the offensive line, and another spark position. But that question needs to be determined by them, because to me, I would say maybe a cornerback, like
Yeah.
to help you out with giving up all those deep passing yards, because you're doing fine on the front and you're doing fine in the middle. But when they're airing it out deep, that's when you're missing on coverage when it comes to between 15 and 30-yard passes. Those are the ones you're getting screwed on.
All right, to the Fanatics feedback zone. Cole Sports chimes in, says how fitting they put Wentz in there going into the game, number 7 seed, 3 hours later eliminated from the playoffs. Wentz needs to go. Wentz absolutely
I love you,
needs
Cole
to go.
Johnson.
Cole Sports says Washington needs to draft a quarterback for the future and correct Drew, build up that offensive line. I've said that for a long, long time. My favorite offensive line's the Hogs. I miss having a mean offensive line like that, for the Redskins. Their defense.
And Joe Gibbs was there yesterday. The
Yeah.
Gibbous. I call him the Gibbous. Joe Gibbs,
Mhm.
the Gibbous, was there yesterday and watched that dumpster fire. And he was sitting there like this the majority of the game, because he was like, what in the am I watching?
Yeah, what's going on? What's going on here? You know? Um, oh boy. Now you got this. No, he's not. I'll leave that alone. Take a break. We'll come back. We got some more sports stuff for you. You're inside the dojo, the Sports Senseis. Back after this.
Hey everyone, I'm joined by my old friend, Mr. Ellis Williams, aka Mr. Biggs. You called me and you told me, you said, man, I got Car Shield and it worked. What made you get it?
I have this old SUV, and I know the manufacturer warranty is about to run out. I didn't want to get stuck with expensive car repairs.
Right.
So I gave Car Shield a call. Coverage was very affordable, and there was no long-term contract. A few months after that, transmission went on my car. I took it to my mechanic. They called Car Shield and saved my family and I $2,400.
Car Shield is America's #1 auto protection company. Their administrators have paid out over $1 billion in claims and cover most vehicles from 5,000 to 150,000 miles. You'll receive 24/7 roadside assistance, courtesy towing, rental reimbursement at no additional charge.
Give Car Shield a call today before it's too late. Remember,
Car Shield cars go farther.
Protect yourself now against expensive auto repair bills. Call 800-513-9263.
Here's an important message from the Diabetes Solution Center. Do you like pricking your fingers to test your blood sugar levels? No one does, but it's important to maintain your health. And now, by wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you don't need to prick your fingers anymore. It's easy to use and helps you make more accurate diabetes treatment decisions. If you are testing your blood sugar 3 or more times daily, injecting insulin, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetes Solution Center right now. And if you have Medicare or most major insurance coverage, you may be able to get a new CGM at little to no out-of-pocket cost. Shipping is free, and we'll even bill your insurance company for you. If you are testing your blood sugar 3 or more times daily, injecting insulin, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetes Solution Center right now to learn how to end the painful finger sticks and get your own continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, at little to no out-of-pocket cost.
Now, I'm known as the guy who can fix just about anything, but the technology in most appliances requires very special training to fix. And that's why my family has Choice Home Warranty.
Choice Home Warranty covers over 25 major home systems and appliances. That's your AC, heating, plumbing, kitchen and laundry appliances, and so much more.
Call Choice Home Warranty now before something breaks down.
Get protection for your heating, AC, plumbing, kitchen and laundry appliances, and more.
Call 800-973-6121.
All right, get ready for a head-to-head match on the Legacy Makers Sports Network with my buddies Drew Willingham and Rod Isaac. That comes at 4:05 this afternoon. 4:05 is the magic time you need to see Drew and Isaac go head to head. I saw the subjects. Y'all are just going to have to watch and get ready to have some fun. It's the In or Out Sports Debate today, 4:05 at the Legacy Maker Sports Network, with a replay at 8:05 on the SDF Sports Radio Network. So we're going to have some fun. We're going to have some fun with that. Speaking of fun, back in the day when New Year's happened, you were so excited to be up at the stroke of midnight and all that kind of stuff. Now that I've turned 50, my wife and I are like, skip that. Time to go to bed.
Dude, I was asleep before midnight this year. I didn't stay, I stayed up long enough. I stayed long enough to finish the game, and I passed out because, like I said, it was a struggle for me just to stay up for the game. And like
I
I said,
got you.
I thought it was over, and I was
Yeah.
like, you know what, I'm gonna crash. But then, like I told you, it was like a little twinkle in my eye. It kept me awake, and I watched the end of that game, and I was like, holy Nikes! I'm glad I stayed awake
Yes.
for that when I woke up the next morning,
Yes.
because it felt like it was a dream watching it until I saw the highlights, and I was like, oh, I remember that. I watched it with a twinkle in my eye.
I saw it happen. We saw the game winner, said Happy New Year, and then my wife said, let's go to bed. Let's go to bed. Didn't she said, how are we going to handle Sunday football? What do you want to do? I said, you know what? We're going to sleep until 12:59, and then we're going to get up and turn the game on and see what we see what we have. We didn't sleep until 12:59. We actually slept until 12:30, and then finally got up, got our snacks, and had some fun watching football yesterday. Didn't make it through the Steelers Ravens game, but I did see the highlights of that because
Unfortunately, I did.
after I sweated out the 49ers and the Raiders, and I finally said, Pete, and Gold knocked home the game winner. And I said, peace out, Raiders. I went in the family room with my wife and crashed. And she just was rubbing my head. She goes, did the 49ers win? And I just start laughing because she heard me in my office and she was teasing me the whole time. But you know what? It may have been a sweat job with the Raiders. And I already knew people wouldn't allow me to live it down should the 49ers have lost to the Raiders. But you know what? As I said earlier in the program, and I'm going to say at 3 o'clock today on the Brian Snow Show, they just needed to make one play on defense, and they made that one play, and Gold knocked home the game winner. Which team in the NFL do you feel sorry for this season?
I mean, there's multiple teams that
Yeah.
I could say that I feel sorry for. Arizona Cardinals with their woes. I mean, you bring in J.J. Watt, not too long ago, and you expected to have something special there with what they were able to do back in 2020, at least. And
Right.
then, J.J. Watt announces his retirement recently because he sees the writing on the wall. You got a 4-12 Cardinals team. I feel sorry for the Cardinals. I feel sorry for J.J. Watt. The other team that I would have to say I feel sorry for would have to be the Los Angeles Rams and their fans.
Mhm.
You're coming off a Super Bowl victory, and now you're 5-11 with 1 week left of the season. It's a complete dumpster fire there. The Raiders. The Raiders are another team that I could say. You bring in a new coach after the complete dumpster fire you had with John Gruden's exit. You got Derek Carr, who's, in my opinion, still a top 15 quarterback, and they're treating him
Yes.
like he's damaged goods.
Right. They're treating him like he's damaged.
You bring in Devontae Adams, who probably doesn't want to stick around now because the team is now 6-10. I gotta say, those are probably my top 3 teams that I feel bad for at this point.
I don't know. There's, like I said, like you said, there's a few teams that I feel sorry for, but I got to stay home here. The one team I feel sorry for with the dumpster fire that's going on is the Indianapolis Colts, because the last 2 years they bring in quarterbacks past their prime, expecting to lead them. You had the leading rusher from last year, Jonathan Taylor, go down with an injury. He went down with an injury that basically ended their season. And you don't know where I just am afraid of the direction this team is going, trending down instead of up. frightens me. That absolutely frightens me to see what's going on in Indianapolis. You mentioned Arizona. Arizona made their own bed. No, I take that back. Not Arizona. The Rams made their own bed, giving up all their draft picks for a Super Bowl run, which happened last year, and now they have to pay the piper. And they're going to have to pay the piper for a while.
What about
All
the
13
Cardinals?
teams, says Cole, should steer clear of Tom Brady. We're not afraid. The team I feel sorry for, the Broncos. Nathaniel Hackett messed that squad all the way up. Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did. And thank you, Cole, for mentioning the Denver Broncos.
Yeah, what about the Cardinals, though?
Hell
What
happened?
about the Cardinals?
What
You don't
the
agree
hell?
with the Cardinals?
I do agree with the Cardinals. I do agree with it. I do agree with
I'll
the
give you
Cardinals.
your take on the Rams because they did trade away all those picks.
Yeah,
And the
that
Raiders,
part,
okay. But
and they're going
the
to be
Cardinals,
a dumpster. They're going to be a dumpster fire for a while, and unfortunately, so are the Cardinals. Do they get rid of Cliff Kingsbury right now and search for another coach, or do they give him another year?
no, you got to keep him because his name is cool. His name is Cliff with a K. That's why you
Yeah,
got to keep him.
and the
Give him
and the
one more
Cardinals
chance,
on
though, man.
and the
One more.
Cardinals are on a cliff, and they're
They
about
are.
to
That's why you
they're about
have to
fall
keep
over
them
the
so they remain on the cliff. One
No,
more time.
no. I say blow it up. I say blow it up. Blow it up, man. Getting that senior citizen glory hog out of there and into the God, I love that.
Come on, Thomas
I love
Edward Patrick Brady II is going for 100,000 career regular season
He
passing yards,
already
Cole.
I think he already had he's got it for
No,
regular
that's
season.
it's
That
combined with
senior season,
playoffs.
yeah,
It's between playoffs and regular
it's
season.
combined. It's combined. Cole Sports said Cliff Kingsbury name is cool. His leadership skills are not. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for that. You guys think
It's with
after
a
a
K.
season like this, the Bears take a good hard look in the mirror and get it right? My thought is no, but I hope I'm wrong. I'll answer your question, Victor. Hell no. And I'll
Pull that back
put
up
my
again.
reasoning in one sentence, or I put it in the form of a question. Who runs the team?
Is this the one that you pulled up about the he says, do you guys think that after a dismal season that it's time for the Bears to take a good look in the mirror? Yeah, I agree with that too. Like, no, like Fields is a pretty good quarterback. I mean, he's doing okay, but just like when we were talking about earlier with the commies, you got some other positions you need to plug around and fill those voids at. I think you've got a good quarterback in Fields. You need to stick it out with him.
Fix the offensive line and get some new ownership. Those are the two things about the Bears that I wonder about. Who gives a crap about him throwing for 1,000 yards? It's like scoring 40,000 points in the NBA. God, I love that. Thank you, Cole, for that.
He's still the GOAT.
No, he's not.
I don't like him. I do
not.
not like Thomas Edward Patrick Brady II,
And why do
but
you
he
keep
is
talking
the
about him,
GOAT.
you
I
fool?
give you that ride. Hey,
I don't.
would you rather me talk about Tom Brady as the GOAT or LaBust? Because LaBust we already
Neither
know is
one
not
of
the
them.
GOAT.
Okay, listen.
But
I'll answer your question. I'll answer your question as only Snowman can. Neither one of them. Okay, neither one. The greatest quarterback in history wore 16, not 12. Take that, Rod West. And thank you, and
16
thank you to
16
everyone. 16, damn it.
minus 4.
No.
12.
Oh man.
Call the 12. Call the 12. Arrest my snowman so that way we can determine that 12 is the best. 12, 12, 12.
Oh yeah? Moon him.
No, Rod, take that out of our comments. MJ is not trash, and we'll take care of this in round 1 today.
You know what,
of episode
Rod?
67.
You know what, Rod West? LeBron James is trash, and he has been for 20 years. Oh, thank you, Cole, for this shot right here. Kenny Stabler is awesome. You said number 12. Yeah, that you did. Oh man, I'm gonna have to hop back on in or out, and we'll have to have that debate also. Is it
We'll talk
16
about it
or
soon.
is it 16? Is it 16 or is it 12? We'll have to do it. It's gonna depend on scheduling, and it's going to depend on time. One final comment: unfortunately, the McCaskies own the team. Unless they run out of money, they will own it for a while. Yeah, I know, which is why I'm not going to grace Soldier Field anytime soon. We got to get out of here. My thanks to my buddy Drew Willingham, my partner in crime for the Sports Senseis. Thank you to Cole Sports, our executive producer, Don Schaefer, our senior producer, and our advertising seller and our distributor. Thank you very much to everybody who tuned in. We'll see you all next Monday for the next edition of the Sports Senseis. We're out of here. See you Monday.
That was a sweet new outro.